And the title of today's webinar is Water Watchers for Indigenous Communities. Thanks so much for joining us today. This session is part of Prepared Together 2025, the Canadian Red Cross Disaster Preparedness Virtual Learning Series. As Canadians anticipate more complex and challenging emergency events, the Canadian Red Cross is committed to helping individuals and communities prepare for, adapt to, and respond to disaster risks throughout the year. We will be hosting sessions throughout 2025 in both English and French to support your preparation for emergencies all year long. To learn more about the series, you can visit our webpage links in the chat, which I will be dropping in there momentarily. We will share a few housekeeping items with you before we begin. Today's webinar is recorded and shared with all registrants. Closed captioning is available in both English and French. Just click the closed captioning button in your Zoom control panel at the bottom of your screen. At the end of today's session, we will have a Q&A period. Please leave your questions in the Q&A box in the control panel. There will be a feedback survey that launches on your browser once you exit today's webinar. We really appreciate your input on how we did today. And if you have any questions about today's programming, please email us at rrr@redcross.ca. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies has seen fundamental principles which we also honor in Canada. These principles align with Indigenous peoples of Canada's 7 sacred teachings. Where I reside on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe peoples, these are also known as the grandfather teachings of wisdom, love, respect, bravery, honesty, humility, and truth. Others, such as the Dene laws, IQ values, or Dakota values, are also similar in their teachings. And without further ado, I'm very pleased to invite Lori to join us on screen, along with Lori's assistant facilitator, Amisha, who will be helping us with the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thanks, April. Chansei Lori White Nitsigasun. I am the manager of the Indigenous Injury Prevention Program with the Canadian Red Cross. I'm happy to be here and presenting this webinar on Water Watchers today. A little bit about me before we begin. I have been lifeguarding for almost 19 years. It'll be 19 years this fall. I started my aquatics journey in 2004 when I was 15 years old, and I joined an Indigenous youth leadership program and earned as many aquatic certifications as I could. I found my passion working with Indigenous people and aquatics. I am a Métis Cree from Edmonton, and my mom's family resides from Alexander First Nation, and my dad's family is from Fishing Lake Métis Settlement. I have been with the Red Cross for almost 2 years. This role has allowed me to travel and expand my desire to reach Indigenous people in their home communities across the country to share my love for swimming, providing drowning prevention, fire and fall prevention, and first aid programs. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you today. I respectfully acknowledge the homelands of the Indigenous people of Treaty 6 territory and Métis District 9. I recognize and honor my ancestors who came before me and the future generations who will come after me. Today, we will delve into what it means to be a water watcher. I want to add a bit of a trigger warning as there will be some mention of drowning and drowning statistics. Please step away if you need to and take time for self-care if this is a tough topic for you. So we're going to review the goals of today's session. Take note of these 3 key takeaways we hope you'll walk away with by the end of this session. First, we want you to understand the purpose of the Water Watcher program, why it exists, and how it helps us build safer communities. We will discuss common environmental hazards that increase drowning risks and how to respond to emergencies in and around the water. We want to highlight the idea that you don't have to be a lifeguard to make a difference. Everyday people, parents, neighbors, and friends can play a powerful role in preventing injuries by being aware and proactive in and around the water. You will learn some practical strategies to spot and reduce potential hazards before they become emergencies. And finally, we hope you feel empowered when understanding the risks and feel comfortable preparing to supervise in and around the water. Even small actions can help save lives. I would like to talk about our relationship to water, our kinship to water, Wakotowin in Cree. In many cultures, we have stories of water, creation stories, stories of survival, and stories to warn of dangers in the water and blessings that water provides. I want you to take a moment and think about your relationship to water. Is it a positive one? Is it negative? Maybe something that you haven't given much thought. My personal relationship with water is strong. I've always had a deep respect for water, a healthy fear as a child. Open water scares me a little bit, and I respect the power that water holds. For me, water is healing. It's my happy place. Whenever I'm stressed or anxious, I go for a swim. If I can't swim, I take a hot bath or a shower. I let the water run over me and flow. With that flow, I let go of my worries, my anxieties, and I try to find clarity. The creation story I was told as a child came from Wasaki Chalk, a trickster. The short version is there was much war and bloodshed, and the creator flooded the lands to wash it away, leaving a few creatures to swim down and gather earth for Wasaki Chalk to rebuild from. The smallest animal, the muskrat, was able to swim down and get the dirt. This story shares the warning of how powerful water is, but it also shares the story of resilience, and even the smallest creatures can make a difference. Today's session is about safety in and around the water, and I want you to remember Wakotwin. Remember your relationship with water. Think about not only how we interact with water personally, but our responsibility to protect that water. I want to thank you in advance for your presence and participation today. It's your efforts that help reduce the number of water-related incidences in your community. So to begin, let's define what a Canadian Red Cross Water Watcher is and what this could mean for your community. Water watchers are individuals who are trained to know how to spot hazards in an aquatic environment before incidences or emergencies happen. Over 10 years ago, the Canadian Red Cross became involved in water watcher movement in partnership with the Lifesaving Society and RBC to give everyday people information on how to keep groups of people they are responsible for safe at waterfronts, such as barbecues, family events, or youth groups. With these efforts, our main goal was to help reduce water-related incidents in communities across Canada. A water watcher is untrained as a lifeguard, but responsible for supervising groups of individuals they are responsible for in an aquatic environment to ensure their safety. They are typically part of groups of adults who take turns watching the aquatic environment. This could be water-related activities or activities near a body of water. When lifeguards are not available, this team can reduce drowning incidents by learning basic prevention techniques, including identifying risky behavior, enforcing safety rules when people gather near water. In this webinar, we are sharing basics of our in-person Water Watchers program so that you can learn from home and take these tips to your pools, beaches, and waterfronts. To start, I want us to get us thinking about who is at most risk when it comes to water-related fatalities in Canada. These statistics come from the Lifesaving Society of Canada. You'll see a pop-up shortly on your screen. Please take a moment to answer. What do you think? Which of the following groups is considered at highest risk of drowning according to national statistics? We'll give everyone a few seconds to answer. Okay, so thank you for everyone for participating. Did we have results? Did they pop up on the screen? Here they are. Okay. So, 25% of you answered seniors age 65 and older. 25% of you answered children under the age of 12. 0% answered young men and boaters. And 50% of you answered D, all of the above. The answer is D, all of the above. April will be dropping a link in the chat if you would like to know more about these statistics. Each year, tragic and avoidable deaths occur across Canada. This is from the Government of Canada's Health Info Base. We do have additional resources from the 2024 National Drowning Report prepared by the Lifesaving Society by the Drowning Prevention Research of Canada. Between April 1st, 2011 and April 13th, 2023, there were 1,109 drowning-related cases in Canada. Out of those 1,109 cases, over 1 in 2 happened in residential or public swimming pools. 1 in 5 happened in natural bodies of water, including ponds, lakes, and rivers. And 237 happened in bathtubs, almost 3 out of 4, which involved infants under the age of 1. As a water watcher, it's important to know what the roles are of other water safety professionals, such as lifesavers and lifeguards. While both roles are associated with aquatic emergencies, their responsibilities, training, and goals are different. Think of steps. The higher you go up, the more training is required. The more specialized equipment and protocols, and more water hazards and risks are involved. On the first step, we have our water watchers. A water watcher is not a lifeguard or a lifesaver. A water watcher is not expected to perform water rescues. I will say that again. As a water watcher, you are not expected to perform water rescues. In fact, that could further endanger the person that's in distress or yourself if you don't have formal training. On the next step, we have a lifesaver. This person has some formal training in water rescue, sometimes works alone, and doesn't have specialized equipment and reacts to an aquatic emergency, generally in open water. You can see the lifeguard on the top step. This individual is highly trained for actual water rescue. Along with monitoring and enforcing water safety, if someone is in distress in the water, a lifeguard can enter the water and help that person. They, as part of the team, using specialized equipment and protocols. Your role as a water watcher is to stay alert, spot potential dangers early, and respond by getting help and guiding others to act safely. Your power is in prevention before something can become an emergency. So again, unless we have formal training as water watchers, we are never entering the water to perform a rescue. Even the strongest swimmers under the best conditions have needed help or had to pull back from a distressed swimmer if they approach them in such a way that the swimmer can pull them under. Always keep yourself safe and others safe by not entering the water for water rescues. So now that we have an understanding of who is at risk and in which types of environments, as a water watcher in our communities, what can we do? There are 3 keys to drowning prevention. They lay out our foundation for our Water Watcher program, and they will also guide the rest of our webinar. First, prepare. This means knowing the risks and recognizing risks and creating a plan. Second, stay safe. This is about choices we make around the water, such as being alert and following safety guidelines. And lastly, survive. Even with preparation, caution, emergencies can still happen. So we'll talk about how to recognize a crisis early and how to react without putting yourself and others at risk. Prepare is our first key to water safety. This means taking time before you're near the water to think about what could go wrong and how you might handle it. Ask yourself questions like, is there a lifeguard? Do I know how deep the water is? Are there any currents or hidden hazards? Preparation is also setting clear rules for kids, knowing where your rescue equipment is, and checking the weather before heading out. When we take a few minutes to prepare, we're not only keeping ourselves safe, but we are also creating a safer environment for everyone around us. Some things you can do to help drowning-related events can start even before anyone gets in the water. Many drowning incidents involve factors that swimming skills alone cannot prepare for. Together, let's make a list of ways we can prepare ourselves or prepare those under our supervision. Please feel free to drop your ideas in the chat, and I'm going to add a few ideas to the list first. So putting children in swimming lessons, putting community leaders in water watchers courses, and making sure to pack a water bottle for beach day. From the chat, we also have taking a life vest or a personal flotation device. Sunscreen. Somebody put in their first aid kit. Wear a bright bathing suit. That is a very good one. Red or orange, for example. You want to make sure that you are very visible in the water, staying away from colors like blue, green, or black. All of these are great ideas. Preparing ahead of time helps prevent emergencies before they even happen. This slide outlines the checklist that we developed to help ensure a safe swimming environment before anybody gets into the water. So some other things that you can do: a shallow water debris search, a beach cleanup, check the weather, create an accurate participant list, ensure equipment is in good shape, set up boundaries, check water conditions. I also see a couple more additions in the chat here. Gatorade, yeah, making sure that you keep your electrolytes up, and assessing temperature of the water. Thank you for sharing. An important part of being prepared is checking the weather ahead of time. While spring and summer means warmer temperatures, there are still heat-related risks to think about. Fall and winter mean cooler temperatures, water and air temperatures drop significantly during these months, and ice and snow become a reality. Ensure swimming takes place during daylight hours. After dark is not safe for visibility-related reasons. High winds or storm-like weather can also pose a threat. For most of the year, water temperatures are cold in natural bodies of water. Emergencies like hypothermia are something to prepare for. Having dry clothes, extra towels, and life jackets are some ways we can stay safe. Check the weather ahead of time so that you are prepared. Make sure to pack items such as sunscreen, extra clothing, and water to protect you from others and others from the heat and sun. We want to avoid heat exhaustion, heat stroke, sunburn, and dehydration. Wear sunglasses. Polarized sunglasses make a world of difference to see through the water. And always make sure someone knows when you'll be near the water just in case something happens. Even if you're the designated water watcher, it's best to let someone know so they can check in on you. As an added safety measure, having a second water watcher to help is a good idea. Sharing the responsibility helps to avoid fatigue. Now we are going to go through a few scenarios where weather alerts can help us think about water safety. Weather can change quickly, and it's important to know how to respond to different alerts. I'm going to show you a few common weather alerts on the next few slides. So weather differs depending on the location and your time of year. Lightning and thunder, it's important to clear the beach immediately if you hear thunder or see lightning. Follow the 30-30 rule. If you see lightning or hear thunder less than 30 seconds later, it means the storm is close enough to be dangerous and you should immediately seek shelter. Wait at least 30 minutes until the last thunderclap before resuming any outdoor activities. High winds can cause visibility challenges and increase waves and whitecaps on the water. High winds can cause loose debris to fly in the air. Be sure to clear the area if it becomes unsafe. Heavy rain can make seeing through the water difficult and can cause temperature changes in the water. Large hail can injure swimmers, and fog can make it harder to see hazards or people. Be sure to close areas if visibility is poor. Remember to always check the weather conditions before heading out. Here are other few potential hazards we want to be mindful of. Water depths and drop-offs. They can shift due to dams and rainfalls and tides. That includes sandbars. Cold, deeper water. Surface might feel warm, but the deeper layers can be dangerously cold, causing hypothermia even in the summertime. Cloudiness or debris can signal unsafe swimming areas. Muddy water may hide submerged objects. Breaking waves or strong surf, it can knock swimmers off balance and cause visibility challenges. Marine hazards, watching for jellyfish, sea urchins, eels, leeches, or snapping turtles. Currents and whirlpools, they can trap and disorientate swimmers even if it looks calm. Beware of blue-green algae, also called cyanobacteria. It's a type of bacteria that can be found in many lakes, ponds, and reservoirs. Algae forms when conditions are calm. The algae can be blue, green, or greenish brown and often smells musty or grassy. It can look like scum on the surface of the water. Algae, murky water, or floating trash can hide danger. Blue-green algae, when it contains cyanobacteria, can be dangerous for your health if it's ingested, or it can cause skin irritation. Blue-green algae can also cause poor visibility in the water. Obey posted signage and be aware of any warnings posted in open water. Blue-green algae can also be toxic for dogs. Next, we are going to talk about how to make safe choices in and on and around the water. As a water watcher, your active presence can prevent drownings. Watch children attentively around all bodies of water, even if they can swim, even if you're not in the water. Remember, drowning is silent. Monitor for risky behaviors and keep regular head counts. Encourage the use of life jackets and PFDs by everyone. The goal is to be proactive and prevent incidents by keeping others and yourself safe. Nothing can substitute for supervision. You play a critical role in community safety. When it comes to life jackets or personal flotation devices, close by isn't close enough. Always choose to wear your life jacket or PFD. Inspect your flotation devices regularly and replace if there are any rips or signs of wear. Store in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area and keep them clean and easily accessible. And always remember to wear the correct size for your height and weight. We want to use the thumbs up test. So you're going to give 2 thumbs up, reach under your life jacket at the shoulders, and if you can lift it up above your chin or above your ears, double check your sizing. On the inside of your jacket, you will also find the transportation logo that's approved by Transport Canada and also recommended size and weight for your jacket. It's good to be reminded that personal flotation devices and life jackets do not replace adult supervision. Drowning incidents and boating claim hundreds of lives every year. Always wear your life jacket. So let's talk about safety at indoor pools and outdoor pools. You want to make sure that you're always following posted pool rules. Have safety equipment handy or know where it is. Stay within boundaries, deep and shallow areas. Be vigilant on slides, diving boards, lazy rivers, and always swim with a buddy. Stay within your boundaries. Know where your deep and shallow ends start and end. And when in pools with lifeguards, ensure you're listening to their instructions. When in pools with no lifeguard present, be sure to obey all posted rules and signs. Next, we're going to talk about staying safe at lakes. It's always important to use towels, sunscreens, hats, polarized sunglasses, and drink lots of water. Watch the weather and water conditions and locate safety equipment boundaries, ropes, buoys, docks, and possibly other sports gear. Boating-related deaths were most frequently related to capsizing, followed by falling overboard. 35% of drownings occurred in lakes and ponds. So let's talk about staying safe at rivers. To stay safe at rivers, we want to watch out for river currents and obstacles. Currents, especially around rocks, bridge pillars, and dams, have enormous power and can easily trap swimmers. Obstacles in a river can be lethal. So we want to make sure we survive. So if you or someone you know is stuck in a river current, first shout out to them to get onto their back and swim downstream with their feet first. Once out of the strongest part of the current, swim towards the shore. Safety aspects of a river are similar to lakes, but with some added considerations such as currents. 26% of drownings occurred in rivers. Even when we have the best intentions as water watchers, drownings can still happen, and often. It's not because someone wasn't there, but because of how they were paying attention. Research shows that many drownings in supervised areas happen when a bystander or a lifeguard is present, but fails to notice the person is in distress. These situations often involve just a few key things we want to highlight so we can avoid them. These are some of the most common challenges water watchers face, and they are based on real patterns seen in drowning incidents. The first is loss of focus. It might seem harmless to glance at your phone, answer a quick text, or chat with someone for a moment. But that moment could be when a swimmer quietly goes under. Our attention can drift easily, especially in calm settings where nothing seems urgent, so staying locked in is critical. The second is missed signs. Drowning rarely looks like what we expect. It's not loud or dramatic, it's fast, quiet, and subtle. Someone might be upright but not making progress, or appear still and silent. If we don't know what to look for, or if we're distracted, we can miss these signs entirely. When we understand these challenges, loss of focus and missed signs, we're better prepared to resist them. Awareness is the first line of defense. These risks don't just apply to lifeguards, but they affect us all. As water watchers, we might not be formally trained, but we still have a responsibility to stay alert and stay present. Recognizing what can pull our attention away or make us miss something subtle is what helps us break the pattern and leads to tragedy. By staying focused, minimizing distractions, and knowing what to look for, we can truly make a difference. It's not about doing everything perfectly, but about committing to being fully present, even if just for a short period of time. That focus can save a life. It's important to note that very few drowning deaths occurred in lifeguard supervised settings, such as public pools and waterfronts. During the 2015 to 2019 period, only 1% of all water-related deaths occurred in a setting supervised by lifeguards. That goes to show how important your role as a water watcher to prepare and stay safe can be. So let's explore some ways to respond to a water-related emergency. Survive is important, but as a water watcher, again, you are never responsible for getting into the water to perform a water rescue. In the next couple of slides, we will look at different types of swimmers. We will review the signs that tell us when a situation begins to look like assistance is needed when someone is in the water. It's a good practice to have a plan of action if an emergency is to happen. Some ideas can include calling for help, calling 911, finding a lifeguard if there are any, throwing an object in, reaching from a safe distance with an object, or using a watercraft. So what does a safe, normal swimmer look like? Breathing is rhythmic, arms and legs are coordinated, body is horizontal, you can see movement. They're comfortable in the water, they might be smiling, their legs are kicking, their shoulders are at or above the surface. So let's review the signs of an injured or distressed swimmer. Calling for help, injured or sometimes silent. Active drowning non-swimmers are usually silent. Floating, sculling, might be waving for help. Body is horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, and they have little or no forward progress. Distressed swimmers are usually at the surface and still able to make noise and call for help. So let's review the signs of an active drowning non-swimmer. They might not be able to call for help because their mouth is at or under the surface. They're climbing a ladder or they're pushing their arms out to the side. Their body is vertical, diagonal, or under the surface. They have little or no forward progress, and their head is pointed to the surface of the water. A good indication is their head positioning. Someone who is in distress or an active drowning non-swimmer, their face will be pointing up, trying to get as much air as they can get. It's important to note that they might not be making sounds, they will be terrified, and their only goal is to breathe. Drowning is silent and it happens quickly. A few gulps of water can cause someone to go unconscious. An unconscious swimmer could be face down or they could be under the surface. They can be in a vertical position or in a horizontal position. An unconscious swimmer is not always floating on the surface in a front float. They could be under the surface. For more information and public resources, please refer to the links posted on the slide. April will share these links for you in the chat. We are proud to partner with the Lifesaving Society to deliver drowning prevention programs. For more information, please visit your provincial Lifesaving Society website. Here you can find public education resources, drowning reports, and information on courses. April will put the links in the chat for you. I want to thank you all again for taking the time out of your day to join us, and I hope you all have a fun and safe summer. And we're going to move into our Q&A period of today's webinar.
Thanks so much, Lori. That was awesome. I think I can kick us off with a Q&A with a question. Uh, do you have any recommendations for life jacket and PFD colors?
Yep. So as we mentioned in the slide as well, we want to make sure that we stick to bright colors, red, orange, yellow, and staying away from any darker colors, green, blue, or black, that will blend in with the water.
We have another question. When should I replace my life jacket?
When you start to see wear and tear on your life jacket, it might be time to replace it. So if there is any damage to your zipper and you're unable to zip it up, if there's any damage to your straps, if there's any fraying, sometimes, especially if you're using your life jackets in chlorinated water, they start to get see-through and the material wears down. So that's also a good indication. If you are replacing your life jacket because it is too old due to wear and tear, or if you notice like the padding has gone down, be sure to cut the life jacket before throwing it out, just to ensure no one else uses that life jacket.
That's a good tip. They didn't teach me that in swim class.
One more question. Would you have any facilitators who travel to northern Alberta? We have many drownings in our semi-remote community.
We do actually. So the Indigenous Injury Prevention Program, we provide drowning prevention programs to Indigenous communities and Indigenous organizations all across Canada. April, we do have a email address that we can pop into the chat if you have more questions or if there is a request for this type of programming in your community. We can definitely connect you with our team.
Yep, I've just dropped that email in the chat, so feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you so much.
What's the difference between a life jacket and a personal flotation device?
Oh, I'm gonna bring my trusty life jacket back here. This is considered a personal flotation device. And the reason why is it has padding on the back and padding on the front. This type of flotation device will allow me to practice my swimming skills. I can roll on all of my sides. I can move freely. A life jacket will have, it could have some padding in the back, but it will have majority of the padding or bulky padding in the front of your life jacket. That means if you go unconscious and you fall into the water, it will always flip you with your face up. So making sure you to know the difference for the type of water activity that you're going to be doing is super important.
Thanks, Lori.
I'm seeing another question here in the chat. Do you have any suggestions when assessing cold running water that is safe for spirit bathing? For cold water, I would definitely, especially if you were doing something like a ceremony to ensure safety, I would just double check the temperature of the water. For a good example, pools are typically kept around 29 degrees. That's fairly warm. A tot pool or a teach pool is kept around 32 degrees, and a hot tub is usually kept around 40 degrees. So keeping that in mind, a lot of our Alberta lakes, I know Alberta lakes here are very cold. The shallowest part of the lake is typically around 17 to 20 degrees in good conditions. So that's still fairly cold. So I would kind of based off of that, you get a thermometer, tip it in there, but it's also exposure, right? So the length of time that you're in there. I do know that some communities do snow baths where they put the baby into a snow bath and they put snow all over the baby, but it's super quick. And then ensuring that they have things like blankets to warm up the body as soon as possible, things like that. So just take into consideration those safety pieces when practicing ceremonies.
I love that so much. Thank you for the question.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, we have another. As a water watcher, we know that we should not be entering the water to save someone. So, what is the best way to save someone as a water watcher?
So there's three steps that you can follow. The Lifesaving Society has it in a ladder. So they call it our ladder approach. With our ladder approach, we are going to start with talking to our um, distressed or active drowning swimmer and just try to encourage them to swim. Kick your legs, move your arms, roll onto your back. Uh, Talking to them as much as possible and keeping sight on that person. The second thing we can do is we can throw an object out to them. Obviously, we want to throw objects that float. So things like noodles, life jackets, buoys, those lifesaver round donut things, uh, flutterboards, things like that we want to throw. Keep in mind if you are in an open area, if you're throwing things like life jackets or noodles, the wind can carry those things away. So you want to be mindful of that. And then the third step on our ladder is to reach. So we can reach into the water to try to grab them. You want to make sure that you are still safe and keeping safe. So from a safe distance, you can throw a rope. Ensure that if you are throwing a rope, you step on the end so you don't lose it into the water. Get your body low to the ground. If you can, get your belly on the ground and then pull that person in. That way, if they do have the other end and they pull, they're not likely to pull you into the water as well. You can use sticks in the same way, noodles in the same way, life jackets, anything in between you and that person for them to grab onto. And then lastly, potentially using a watercraft to get out to that person.
That's great. That's really good information to know, and really important to remember that we don't need to enter the water ourselves in order to save a life. Sometimes that can actually be more dangerous if we put ourselves in harm's way. So that's really good to know. And I think this wraps up our Q&A session. Not seeing any more questions. Amisha, am I missing anything? Any questions here?
Nope, you're all good.
Okay, wonderful. I want to thank you so much, Lori, for sharing your expertise with us today. This has been so informative for Drowning Prevention Week. Always a pleasure, and so grateful for everyone to have joined us today and for this week, for Drowning Prevention Week. Thank you so much.
Hi, April.
Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.